A few months ago, I started live streaming on Twitch, and recently I got some questions about my DJ and live streaming setup. In this video, I'll be going over what hardware and software I'm using, the problems that I ran into while setting everything up, and the potential improvements that I'm thinking about making to my setup. To see my setup in action, you can view my stream schedule at twitch.tv/djpetermorgan to find out when I'll be streaming next. If you prefer to watch a recording, you can go to youtube.com/djpetermorgan whenever it is most convenient. With my setup, it's actually best to think of it as two setups that work together, one for DJing and one for live streaming, with only a single audio cable connecting the two together. Let's start by looking at my DJ setup, which hasn't changed a lot since 2010. At the center of my DJ setup is an Asus laptop from 2016 that runs Native Instruments Traktor Pro 4. I wanted to run Traktor Pro 4 on my MacBook Pro, but you'll find out later on in the video why that didn't work. On the stand underneath the Asus laptop is a Native Instruments Audio 8 DJ sound card, which connects to the laptop via USB. Two RCA cables from the Audio 8 DJ go into an Allen & Heath Xone 42 DJ mixer. With this setup, I am capable of outputting all four decks from Traktor Pro 4 to all four channels on the Xone 42 mixer, but currently I'm only using two decks of Traktor and two channels on the mixer. On both sides of the Xone 42, I have Native Instruments Kontrol X1 controllers. These give me full control over the playback of the decks and the settings for the effects in Traktor Pro 4. The final piece of audio equipment going into the Xone 42 mixer is a Shure SM58 microphone. I don't use it often, but I have it for when I need it. I am using two of the audio outputs on the Xone 42. The main XLR outputs from the Xone 42 go to a pair of KRK Rokit 5 speakers. For the size of the room that my setup is in, I really don't need anything bigger. The second output of the Xone 42 is what connects my DJ setup to my live streaming setup. But more on that in a moment. First, let's transition to looking at my live streaming setup. My live stream is broadcast using a 2023 14-inch MacBook Pro. For video, I have two cameras that are mounted on Elgato mounts. The primary camera that captures the video from overhead is a GoPro Hero 4 Silver, which is plugged into the MacBook Pro using an Elgato Camlink 4K. The secondary camera is a Microsoft Lifecam webcam that connects to the MacBook Pro via USB. Now let's circle back to connecting my DJ setup to my live streaming setup. Connected to the MacBook Pro via USB is a Behringer UMC 204 HD sound card. Plugged into the front of the sound card are the ends of an RCA cable connected to the Xone 42's booth output. There are a lot of different options when it comes to choosing which live streaming software you want to use. I chose to use OBS because I have streamed with it before and am familiar with it. OBS not only sends the live video to Twitch, but it also records a copy to my computer and allows me to switch between different visual scenes. To my surprise, most of the setup just sort of worked when I plugged everything in, but there were a few problems that I wanted to highlight. The biggest problem that I ran into was that my Native Instruments Kontrol X1 controllers and Audio 8 DJ sound card do not work with my MacBook Pro. I was going through the process of setting everything up so that my MacBook Pro was the computer running Traktor Pro 4. That was until I got to the point where I had to install the drivers for the Audio 8 sound card and the Kontrol X1 controllers. It was only then that I learned that support for them ended with the launch of macOS 10.15, also known as Catalina, which came out in October of 2019. Thankfully, the Windows 7 drivers that Native Instruments provide still work on Windows 10, and I haven't had any issues running Traktor Pro 4 on the Asus laptop. The second problem that I ran into was that the webcam had its autofocus turned on by default. On Windows, there's a built-in control panel that lets you turn off settings like autofocus, but not on macOS. To disable the autofocus, I found an open source application called Camera Controller that gives you the same kind of settings you would have access to on Windows. The final problem I had was not something you would have noticed while watching a live stream, but did add time to the editing process while I was preparing each video to go up onto YouTube. When I brought the live stream recordings into my editing software, I saw that there were 4 channels of audio, and I would have to remove the extra 2 channels each time I was editing a video. As it turns out, it was a problem with my configuration in the settings of OBS. First, I had the audio coming in via the UMC 204 HD assigned to tracks 1 and 2 in the advanced audio properties. Then in the output section of the settings, I had audio track 1 and 2 selected as well. The way that I had OBS configured, it was correctly recording the audio input twice. That's just not what I wanted. To fix this, I unchecked track 2 in both places, and now the video records the audio as I expected it to. While I wouldn't recommend anybody replicate my DJ setup one for one, I am happy with what I'm able to do with it at the moment. Of course, there are always improvements that can be made, and perhaps the most obvious of which would be modernizing the DJ setup. Traktor Pro 4 is a modern piece of software, but the hardware that I'm running with it is not. If I were to upgrade my DJ setup, my intuition tells me that a new mixer, perhaps one with a built-in audio interface, would be a good place to start. Being able to connect my laptop directly to a mixer would let me get rid of a couple of cables and one piece of hardware from the setup. I'm working on a follow-up video to this one that looks at how outdated my DJ setup actually is. Get subscribed so you don't miss it. The second improvement I would like to make is raising my speakers onto desk-mounted stands. You can't really see them in the livestream videos, but the speakers are sitting on top of the desk, which is at about waist height. Elevating the speakers would get them closer to ear level and free up some of the space on the desktop. The third improvement I'm thinking about making is finding some better camera angles for the video portion of the livestream. I am happy with how the stream looks currently, but before setting everything up, I didn't realize that the video from the overhead camera would appear as far away from the mixer as it is. This is potentially the easiest improvement for me to make, as the Elgato mounts allow me to put the cameras wherever I want them to be. That wraps up this overview of my DJ and live streaming setup. I know that I didn't go too in-depth into any one piece of hardware or software that I'm using, so if you'd like me to create a follow-up video on any part of the setup, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll mention once more that if you'd like to see my setup in action, you can find out when I am streaming next by looking at the schedule on twitch.tv/djpetermorgan. Or you can watch the recordings a few days afterwards at youtube.com/djpetermorgan. Thanks for watching this video on the DJ Podcast. I'll see you next time.